oh my God, she's going to swallow my whole head. And I was really scared. I went cold, and just as she was about to reach me, she vanished like she was never there.
Mm-hmm. I dropped before. Bye.
Whatever she was, I'm convinced she would have hurt me if she could have. I mean, it was... Also, there was this feeling I've never forgotten. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like everything you were ever scared of is real. And I've never forgotten that feeling.
Ooh, like spiders?
More like I'm staring at something that I should not be seeing, but I'm definitely seeing.
Oh.
Long story short, couldn't get back to sleep. And this was in the early 90s, so there wasn't a lot on if you didn't have cable. And
you didn't have air conditioning, I'm sure you didn't have cable.
And so, yeah.
This is a sonoring war cry of a very angry frog.
So, that wasn't my introduction to all things paranormal, but it was the first time I can for sure say I saw something that I knew I was seeing. And I knew enough of what it was to be terrified of it.
I see. Well, for what it's worth, dear, I'm glad it didn't hurt you.
Thank you, honey.
What? You want us to me to pity you too?
No. My option was to run out the front door. And Krysta, let me point out, it was the heat of summer. I didn't have air conditioning. I wasn't wearing that much. If I had gone tearing out in my front yard, I'm sure any neighbor who might have been up would have complained. And in Atchison, the police take things like, my neighbor is a psychopath in no clothes out on his lawn, seriously.
All I'm saying is that any of that's better than dying because of a ghoul. Just saying. Just saying.
Well, and again, it's Atchison, Kansas. So the thing is, it's near the river, tons of limestone, and those things hold memories. It's the stone tape theory. But this is even something beyond that, because it definitely had consciousness. It saw me.
Hey, remember when I told you, Miss Vernicus, remember when I told you that limestone attracts ghosts? Here it is. Facts.
It's not that it attracts ghosts, but it's one of those stones they say holds memories. And and that's where you get repeating apparitions. Now, Atchison is just haunted on its own, but so I'm not even sure who this lady was or what she might have been or where she might have come from. All I know is that I was terrified.
She's chasing me. Help.
Exactly.
Alrighty.
And that brings us to you, my dear.
All right.
Yay!
So, I'm going to talk a little bit about this one. I'm going to kind of jump around because what I have here, some of it's not very PG-12 friendly as far as I'm concerned.
Feel free to adapt anything you need to.
I will.
Yeah. We said that
you know
too
what?
much in social studies. Did
I changed my mind. All right. I'm going to tell your favorite because I've changed my mind and I'm going to tell personal story as my one after this.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So, but I really like this one. I've got to tell it. Plus, you said it's your favorite. Okay. So, this is the legend of Stingy Jack. So, one evening in the dark hills of rural Ireland, one of Satan's devils posed as a dead man, waiting for the man called Stingy Jack to run into him. When Jack came across the body, a deranged face and wide eyes with an evil grin stared back at him. Stingy Jack instantly realized that his time was up and that the devil had come to collect his soul. He begged the devil for a final request, which the demon granted. Jack told him that he wanted just one more drink before he had to depart the human world. And he took the devil to the nearest tavern. One drink turned into another, and then another. Before too long, they were drunk as could be, and having a good old time. A devil of a time, if you will. But once they had drank all of the alcohol in the place, Jack realized he didn't have any money to pay for the bill.
Oh my goodness, Jack!
Jack was in trouble.
Jack is stupid.
And so he casually turned to the devil and he said, "Hey, you can use your magical powers and simply transform yourself into a piece of silver so I can pay for our drinks." And the devil turned himself into a piece of silver so that they could pay for the drinks. But instead of paying, Jack took the piece of silver and stuck it into his pocket. The devil quickly realized that he had been double-crossed and tried to get out of the pocket. However, Jack, being the good Irishman that he was, had a crucifix in his pocket, which trapped the devil there. Well, knowing that he had him trapped, Jack made a deal with the devil that he would leave Jack alone for another decade and let him enjoy another decade in the land of the living.
Decade is like 10 years, right?
Yes. And so, once the devil had made the deal, Jack released him from the coin and went on about his life. So, 10 years passed and Jack enjoyed himself, but once again those years went by, and this time when the devil came to take him, Jack said, "Okay, I'll go with you. But before we go, there's a amazing looking apple tree over there. What do you say? You go and pick us some apples for our long trip." And the devil, thinking it might be a good idea to have a snack, went and selected a couple of apples. And he was looking for the most juicy, because if you're devil, you have to have the best.
You have to have the best of the best.
Well, while he was selecting apples for them, Jack quickly carved 4 crucifixes into the bark of the tree, and the tree's limb captured the devil, and he was stuck
Seriously.
So he was stuck. He was trapped in the tree, and on the condition that Jack would not go to hell, Jack once again offered the demoness freedom. Once again, there was little choice but for the demon to submit to the man's wishes. So Stingy Jack continued the rest of his life, saving the knowledge that he had outsmarted the devil not once, but twice. So many years, he roamed the earth, and finally his body just was completely worn out, and he was ready to die. He was ready to go. And he went to heaven, and heaven wouldn't take him.
Now you gotta go to the devil and pay
They
back all
turned him away because he was a liar and a cheat and a drunk, and they didn't want him in heaven. So Jack was like, okay. And he went to hell. And when he got to hell, Satan also said, no, you can't come in here either. We made a deal. You're not allowed to come in. I'm not allowed to take you. You're not allowed to come to hell. So, with neither heaven nor hell to go to, Jack asked for one last wish. He asked for an ember from the fiery depths of hell to give him a little light while he wandered the world in darkness. So Satan picked one small red hot coal from hell and gave it to Jack. Jack found a turnip and hollowed it out, making it into a makeshift lantern. So, ever since then, Jack's ghost can be seen wandering aimlessly around the Irish countryside. And whenever the locals see the mysterious light, they would just say, "That's just Jack-o'-the-lantern." Later, the name became synonymous with the name for Stingy Jack, wandering spirit. Jack.
That's cute. Okay, that's
That
kind
is
of cool.
cute,
That's
right?
kind of cool.
That's a
kinda
good
cool.
one.
I don't like Jack. I don't like Mr. Jack and Mr. Satan. I thought you were better than this. I thought you could freaking teleport and stab the guy in the back of the head, but no.
It's a legend.
No.
And also, in Irish mythology, the crucifix has great power. So, carrying one on you can beat the devil. You can beat the devil every time. You don't need a fiddler from Georgia to help you.
Props to the Irish. Sure. Where
Yeah.
do the Irish live exactly?
In Ireland. I mean, right?
What was the question? I'm sorry, I didn't hear it.
Where do the Irish live?
They live in Ireland.
My social studies teacher would be so drunk.
I know, right?
We were talking about Roman stuff. That's why I'm asking. I'm like, oh, isn't that like somewhere near? Isn't Rome in Italy or something?
Well, yeah, Rome is in Italy, but the Roman Empire did stretch as far north as the British Isles, and that would include Ireland.
There you go.
Cool. I was just a city.
In fact, that's kind of that time is kind of where the St. Patrick legend of him throwing out the snakes comes from.
Oh boy.
So,
We'll work on it, Kristen.
alrighty. Well, that brings me to these couple now.
Your last one.
No. I'm saving one for the very end. So some years back, I dated a girl named Amanda. Just to tell you a little about her, she was raised in a commune. She was kind of pagan in attitude, and she thought of herself as part pixie. She was short. She was red-haired, very artistic. She made pottery and did drawings and paintings. And now we didn't date for very long. She lived near St. Louis. I lived in Kansas City, so we weren't close, and which is why we broke up. You know, it was a short-term thing. But the point is, she was an artist, had a bit of an outrageous personality. She was hard to mistake for anyone else. It's not like I see people to this day and go, hey, that looks like Amanda, because she was totally her own person. Well, in 2014, I got an email from a mutual friend that she had seen her at a convenience store near the Missouri-Arkansas border. They had talked about many things, her pottery business, which she said she'd not made anything new in a couple of years. They discussed her nursing training, which she had supposedly just finished. She even told her to wish me well if she saw me or heard from me. Problem is, I found out a couple of years after that, Amanda